Hello everybody, my name's Catriona Morten. I'm a sensory-motor psychotherapist. Today what I'd like to talk to you about is when people have been abused, the legacy that leaves them, and if we've been targeted in some way, the impact and the effect that can have on us as time goes on, as we live our life. But before we get into that, if you're enjoying these videos, then give us a like and subscribe to our channel because it really helps us get out there to more of you. The reason I want to talk to you about this is because I work with so many people that have been victims of some kind of abuse. They've been targeted, they've been bullied, they've been made to feel like they're a problem and people are always out to get them. The world's a dangerous, difficult place. And for them, that is their lived experience. It has been. And it's very real, and it goes into the very core of us. Recovering from this is a very multi-layered approach. It can have different impacts on us at different ages and reside in different parts of our body, affect us in different ways, our behaviours, our belief systems, the way we deal emotionally with things, whether or not we shut down or whether or not we kind of volcanically blow up. It's different for everybody, and the layers of how these things go together are different. And sometimes in therapy it can feel a bit like we pull a plaster off one layer and we deal with what's happening, and often those are more kind of everyday presenting things that people notice about themselves or other people have noticed about them, or they recognise patterns and cycles of behaviour. But as we keep going down those layers, then it reveals much more of the kind of body felt sense, the things that are lying underneath that. And while talking about things can be really good, because it can be really good to have a safe, good relationship with someone who can understand, make sense of what we're saying, help us put some pieces together, that's brilliant. But unless we're going to work with the impact that's had on our body and our nervous system and understand how these things work and how they show up, then it's very difficult to just heal. Theory alone isn't enough often for but what do I do about that? How do I fix this? How do I make changes? How do I improve these things? We have to be able to work with the body in order to do that. When we've been made a target when we're very young, especially when we're very young, then our attachment is really important to us. How we relate to the people that are involved in us, in whatever capacity. And when we're little, we cannot believe, we don't have the capacity, and it's not safe to believe, particularly if we've been targeted or abused by a family member. Because those are the people who are responsible for looking after us, for keeping us safe. Adults always know best. And so when we're little, we 100% believe that it must be us. It's something that we're doing to make ourselves a target, to keep getting blamed for things, to keep being the victim of this. And when we're little, we're so easy to manipulate. We'll believe things that as an adult, it's like nonsensical. But it's really different when we're little. And often, a lot of the consequences of these things, we internalise them. It must be me, it must be something I've done, it must be something about me. There's something wrong with me. And that's a really difficult thing to shift. One, it's a belief system, and we keep making that true, but we feel it viscerally in a cellular level. And because these things are lodged in our amygdala, and the impact of it is held within our body in certain mannerisms, behaviours, movements, feelings of different sensations that we feel through the body, it can be really difficult to identify what the triggers for that are. It can be really difficult to identify that actually we've been triggered, that something has impacted either something within a body memory or in our amygdala. And the kind of clues for those things are either a very sudden change in either our mood, in the way that we're perceiving things around us. One minute I'm having a good time, the next minute it feels like I'm suspicious of everybody, everybody's looking at me, I feel really uncomfortable, I've got to get out. Or just having some kind of really huge body sensation. When we don't know it's a trigger, it's something from our past that's just been poked and set off. Of course we go, oh my God, what is it? What is it? It's that, it's the people, it's this building, it's something that somebody just said, a comment that somebody just made to me that suddenly makes me feel really visible and seen. If we've been targeted, if we've been abused, we've been seen in the most unhealthy way. When we're seen, when we're spotted, that means danger, something awful is going to happen. And it can be as little as somebody just paying us a compliment, noticing what we're wearing. Oh, they're nice shoes. That can be a trigger. It's like, oh my God, they've noticed me, I've been seen, something terrible is going to happen. The head won't make any sense of it, so it'll give some kind of a narrative. And often when people are explaining to me about the reasons that these things, why this happens, it kind of doesn't really add up. It doesn't really make sense. When somebody's telling me something that doesn't make sense, I know there's more to it. There's something else to it. When we watch the body's narrative and the way that the body plays out, when we're talking about particular things, sometimes we'll start pulling away to one side. As a therapist, it's my job to be observing what the body's doing, what things are playing out. Do the actions, do the movements within the body match what the person's saying? If there's an impact on the body and it's a body memory coming up, then the body's going to be doing something very particular. It might be just making itself really small and shrinking in. Somebody's arms might be coming out to the side. I might be able to notice actually they're not breathing very loudly or very deeply. That everything has just started to contract. Often when I'm with someone and I'm aware that they're triggered by this, I'll notice that maybe eye contact is a bit more difficult. They might look over in a certain way. It's like, seems to be a lot more difficult to look at me right now. And all of those things, these patterns, they make sense. At one point, this way of behaving, this reaction, this effect of something has been a good coping mechanism. A trigger in the present moment makes sense of something that's happened to you in the past. And it's my job to help people understand that, to make sense of these things that have happened and how they're showing up in the body today. It also gives us a massive clue as to what's needed to help regulate these little parts of us, these wounded parts, what's needed to be able to feel a little bit more grounded and solid and to stay present and to have your voice. To have a voice, we need to be able to breathe. So it's always important that we find the things that enable the body to take a spontaneous breath. And that really helps manage these triggers, to regulate the triggers, and to help the person understand that this is actually, you're a bit triggered. You're a little bit offline, your nervous system's a bit offline. It's not about the things that are happening here, it's just they've set off a mechanism to the past. And when we can help these little parts of ourselves that have had to internalise, keep everything in, blame themselves, it must be my fault, suddenly, oh my God, I'm wrong, I need to get out, I need to fix things, what have I done? To be able to recognise, aha, that's my little internalised, traumatised part. And finding ways of helping protect those little parts, support them in a positive way, not in terms of putting up barriers to things, but just to help our internal world, knowing that it's all happening in here. And there's loads of different things that we can do to help that. And we've got other videos that show regulation things, grounding things, and I'll drop the links to those videos in the description box below, so that if you want to have a look at those and match these things up, then you can. So if any of that makes sense, if you think that lands with you and it's been helpful, then 100% look at some of the grounding and regulating videos. And I just hope that that helps to shed a light on some of these things, either for yourself or sometimes with other people that you're aware of that these things might happen. So if you've enjoyed this video, if it's made sense, if it's been helpful, then give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.